Are we ready to admit that LaMelo Ball might be the best point guard in basketball right now? Because he just had two of the greatest games of his NBA career back to back. But it's not just about the stats that makes this so special. It's how he does it and what he's been able to overcome while doing it. Everyone knows LaMelo has been on a tear this season. He's taken his game to a whole other level. He's top 2 in the NBA in scoring, leads all guards in points per game and 3-pointers made this season, and is the favourite to win the Clutch Player of the Year award this season. And yet, despite playing like a superstar, LaMelo doesn't get treated like one. Before we break down these two incredible performances, let's put this all into perspective so you really understand the significance of what he did. Last week, the Charlotte Hornets faced the Brooklyn Nets in what was a very important game for both teams. LaMelo was having an off game by his elite standards. He finished with 12 points on 3 of 13 shooting, but this has been a recurring theme for LaMelo this season. It might look like he's struggling or having a poor shooting night, and then boom, he suddenly flicks a switch, hits a bunch of threes back to back, and he'll go off for 15 and a quarter. And this is what made what happened against the Brooklyn Nets an absolute war crime. Because down 1 with just under 4 minutes to go, new head coach Charles Lee made the mind-boggling decision to bench the NBA's 4th quarter scoring leader. Even on the final play of the game with a chance to win, having that guy right there at his disposal, who's hit clutch shots all season long, Charles Lee was too arrogant and stubborn and chose not to put LaMelo Ball in the game. The Brooklyn Nets won this game by a singular point, and LaMelo, who saved this team so many times, was sat helpless on the bench, spectating from afar as his team lost a very important and winnable game. And Charles Lee's explanation for doing this just makes him look even worse.
And I just thought that Trey had a little bit of a better hand tonight and was helping us a little bit more on both ends of the court.
This decision was unforgivable, a fireable offence. The coach sacrificed a winning game against a competitive team to prove a point and flex his authority. And it reminds me of a game that took place against the Denver Nuggets a few years ago, when James Borrego benched an all-star LaMelo Ball in the 4th quarter in favour of Ish Smith, who did go off in the 4th and win the game for Charlotte, but even back then, that's an unacceptable way to treat your star. Other NBA teams don't do that, but at least back then LaMelo was a 20-year-old sophomore with a lot to learn. That isn't remotely the same as what happened with Brooklyn. LaMelo is on a supermax contract. He's the highest earning player on the team, he's one of the best scorers in the league and averaging a career high 10.4 points per game in the 4th quarter this season on 51% shooting from the field and 42% shooting from 3-point range. And yet Charles Lee, as a first-year head coach who hasn't proven anything in this league as a coach nor a player, somehow has the authority to make that call? To pull that kind of stunt with your star, you have to be a Phil Jackson or a Greg Popovich. The Hornets are not a winning team. They have one of the worst rosters in the NBA, and they don't have established NBA players who have proven they can be depended on in those type of situations. And the fact that under a new regime, ownership and front office, that this kind of thing is still happening all these years later in Charlotte is insulting to a guy who is now undeniably the greatest player to ever wear a Hornets jersey. The situation was a massive story which people all across the NBA media had a lot to say about.
And that's what you took away from your team.
Absolutely.
You took away the star ability right there, the playmaking, the precision. Like the rest of the game don't matter. He had a horrible go at it.
Redemption time.
The last 3 minutes is where it happened. When I hit the famous game winner against the Bulls.
Here in Chicago, Arenas, played by Heinrich. Both teams over the limit. Here's Arenas. This for the win. Yes!
That game winner, I was 3-4 for fucking 15 at that point, having a horrible go at it.
You better stop, Professor Ogilvy. Your ass be out of there.
Did they win?
Don't teach no lessons.
No. That's that Bud shit. Bud used to do that.
LaMelo could have taken the huff. In a league where stars get coaches fired all the time, he could have been egotistical and used his pull within the organisation to get Charles Lee fired. But LaMelo didn't do that. He responded in the best way he could, coming out against the Detroit Pistons and delivering a masterclass.
I'm not sure he knew exactly where he was.
Alright, this time the line works! Moussa Diabate, his first start as a Hornet, already 8 rebounds, 4 offensive. Final 3 minutes of our first half. Every which way but loose! LaMelo! Shot clock's at 5.
The script was written and set up for LaMelo to hit the game-winning shot and give the middle finger to Charles Lee. And although he had the chance, he missed and stupidly fouled out in the opening seconds of overtime. LaMelo still finished with 35 points and his co-star Brandon Miller led the team to victory in his absence with a career high of his own. So despite one of his greatest NBA performances, LaMelo had a lot to prove still. In his last 2 games, he was benched in the 4th and missed a game winner. He had to make a statement, and it wasn't going to be easy up against the Milwaukee Bucks. They came in with a plan, as they remember exactly what LaMelo did to them a few years ago.
Here we go. It starts with LaMelo.
The Bucks decided to put Giannis Antetokounmpo, a Defensive Player of the Year, on LaMelo, and their strategy was pretty simple: you stop Ball, you stop the Hornets. But instead of backing down, LaMelo embraced the assignment. Shot clock winding down, one-on-one with Giannis, LaMelo gets shifty, hits him with a nasty crossover, gets into the lane and flips it up over the outstretched Brook Lopez for a beautiful finish. Then LaMelo starts to show what's arguably his greatest gift: his passing. Cody Martin pokes the ball loose from Giannis, LaMelo out in transition floats one up high for Brandon Miller, who rises up and stuffs it through with 2 hands for the first of many lobs this game. Towards the end of the quarter, LaMelo in the pick and roll gets the switch on Dame, anticipates the reach, goes diagonally between the legs leaving Lillard in the dust, and on the drive he keeps his head up and dumps it off at the last moment to Taj Gibson for an easy layup inside. Once again, Melo rebound, races out in transition, and look at his poise. He's got 2 athletic wings running the floor, he's able to identify that the right side is crowded, so he stalls as if he's going to throw a lob again, gathers, hop steps left by the defender and scores with the soft touch on the floater. Up until this point in the second, he'd been real quiet. Right here, Salon at half court, Melo's off the ball on the wing, Grant Williams sets a hard screen off the ball to give Melo that extra second to receive the pass and sink one from downtown. Tell me an NBA player more exciting to watch in transition than LaMelo Ball. Brandon Miller showcases athleticism, swatting Giannis off the backboard. Melo's first to react to the loose ball, gets ahead, 2-on-1 with Cody Martin. Melo deliberately deaccelerates, baiting Lopez to step forward onto the perimeter and stop the transition free. This leaves Lopez in no man's land, creates an opening in behind that LaMelo capitalizes on and dishes off to Cody Martin for a free 2-handed dunk. Another assist from LaMelo right here, this time nothing crazy, simple pass to his man Brandon Miller, who knocks down a big one at the end of the half to make it a 7-point game. Now I just want to say, I've included all of Melo's field goals so far, and you're probably wondering how this guy is going to finish with 50 points after only scoring 10 in the first half. Stick around to see how he pulled off the impossible. I think this play right here was the turning point. Melo, guarded by Giannis again, just blows by him off the dribble, beats the help defense to the spot, and Lopez just clotheslines him out of frustration, but all he does is send Melo to the line for one more because he was able to keep it together and finish through the contact. This hard foul right here woke the beast in LaMelo Ball, because from this point onwards he went Super Saiyan. Despite the hard hit, Melo doesn't back down. A lot of guards after a hard hit like that would have taken the message and started shooting from the perimeter. Not LaMelo Ball, he doesn't back down, he keeps on attacking Lopez. Right here pushing the pace, Melo quick crossover to get past Prince, Lopez steps forward again and LaMelo sees Miller cutting back door and lobs it up to his partner for a 2-hand slam. This matchup is personal for LaMelo Ball. It doesn't matter who's in front of him because you can't stop him one-on-one. He just keeps going at Lopez. Gary Trent Jr. can't stay with him. Melo gets down low at a size disadvantage, turns the corner, gets his body in front of Lopez and puts it in from close range. Once again he's clearly fouled, that should have been an and one, but he doesn't get the whistle. Watch the balance and composure from LaMelo on this play. Miller slips the screen and once again Melo attacks Trent Jr. off the dribble. He's strong enough to keep the handle and look how he's able to stay on his feet, cuff the ball, lean into the defender and bounce off of his body to float it in. Do you know how many NBA players would flop there or fall to the ground after that shot? Not LaMelo Ball. The way he's able to adjust his body and use his own momentum and also his opponent's momentum to his advantage is just masterful. And now that he's put up some points, here comes the confidence. Let me break down this high pick and roll right here because some people will say this is a bad shot. Part of being a great point guard is not just making the right basketball play but understanding your teammates and what they can and can't do. Right here Brook Lopez is in drop coverage and they allow Diabate to slip to the basket. it. Now in theory, the right basketball play is to split the defense with a bounce pass and find the roller in the lane for an easy one. But Melo is well aware of the fact that if he plays that pass to Diabate, Giannis is going to help from the weak side, and Diabate isn't a competent finisher in the pick and roll. He hasn't made a field goal in his last 3 games, and the odds of him making his first one over the Defensive Player of the Year is slim to none. LaMelo, well aware of this, decides to improvise and punishes Brook Lopez for going under the screen, hitting a ridiculous one-legged pull-up deep 3-pointer, which wouldn't you agree is statistically a better shot than a Diabate layup over Giannis. LaMelo has dragged Charlotte back into this game, and Giannis has had enough. He wants the LaMelo assignment, but even for somebody as mobile and coordinated as Giannis, he can't stay in front of LaMelo. Melo squares up as if he's going to drop another bomb and just blows by Giannis like it's nothing, and before Brook Lopez can even rotate over to protect the rim, Melo's already laid it in off the glass for 2 points. The Bucks have tried everything to slow LaMelo down now. In the high pick and roll, they send Bobby Portis to blitz him, but LaMelo is 2 steps ahead, gets rid to Diabate, and because the Bucks have committed so much attention to LaMelo, they are now scrambling to recover on defense. Melo's calculated, he holds his position, waits for Grant Williams to draw in the closeout, then he swings the extra pass back to Ball at the top of the key, and he drains another from deep. Hornets sacrificing good shots for great shots, and it's a 2-point game. The fact that Brandon Miller is so good already makes life so much easier for LaMelo Ball. Brandon Miller's doubled, allowing LaMelo to camp wide open on the wing, and Trent Jr. is punished for giving the NBA's leading 3-point scorer too much room from beyond the arc, and Giannis ain't happy about it, because LaMelo's now feeling it. Isolated with Trent Jr. again, Melo gets in his bag, and you already know what happens next. That was an outrageous quarter for LaMelo Ball, 20 plus points in the third, and if you think he slowed down in the fourth, you're underestimating LaMelo Ball. It's the same moves over and over again, but they have no answer for it. Watch LaMelo running the point, quick hazy, blows by and bumps into the defender to get the separation needed for a signature floater in the lane, and that bucket took him up to 39 points, a new career high for LaMelo. But with just over 6 minutes to go, the Hornets are down 20, but one thing about LaMelo Ball is he never gives up. 2-on-2 on the break right here, and LaMelo knows exactly what he's doing. Allowing the defense to pick their poison, Melo draws in both defenders. Once he draws them both in, he just throws it up to Brandon Miller for yet another alley-oop dunk. And then again, halfway through the fourth now, LaMelo shows no respect to Damian Lillard, effortlessly gets by him on the wing and just cushions it off the backboard over Lopez. He's up to 40 plus now for the first time in his career. LaMelo in a hurry once again, matched up with Damian Lillard, and it's just too easy. Same move, same result, gets in front of him and showcases his hang time, staying up there and dropping it in from the baseline, no backboard needed. Hornets down 15, just under 3 minutes to go. Once again the go-to, LaMelo high pick and roll with Miller, who slips the screen, ball to Brandon on the roll, Miller meets Lopez in the air and lays it in with the left hand. That's exactly what we want to see from B-Mill. Then again, Cody bricks from the corner, Diabate hustling, crashes the offensive glass, kicks out to Melo, and look at the awareness from the youngest Ball brother. He doesn't wait, doesn't take any unnecessary dribbles, looking like Nikola Jokic, quick touch pass Brandon Miller's way, and that's an easy catch and shoot triple for the sophomore superstar. And just like that, it's a 10-point game. Hornets fighting for their lives. LaMelo, with 3 Bucks players in close proximity, just weaves his way through bodies, and after picking up his dribble early, calmly steps by Dame to the rim for a layup. It looks easy, but it's really not. Bucks lead is just 8. Hornets looking for a miracle, and they have the magic man to make it happen. Melo one-on-one with Giannis. He's torched him in all different kinds of ways this game. He doesn't know what's coming. Earlier in the game, if you remember, LaMelo in this exact same situation caught him with the hezi, blew by him to score. This time Melo sets up the same way and just fires a bomb from downtown Charlotte, and of course he hits it, and the Bucks lead by just 5. 45 seconds, down 7. Melo in a hurry trying to make something happen, goes the full length of the court. Trent Jr. does well to stop him from turning the corner on the drive, but LaMelo is different. Falling out of bounds from near enough behind the backboard, he just puts it up there and gets the friendly bounce in what should have been an and one, because that was a clear push that the officials just ignored. Down 5, under 20 seconds to go, Charlotte still won't give up. LaMelo spins by Prince, head up, finds Brandon Miller, who steps into a pull-up transition 3, he hits it, and they cut the lead to to just 2 points, fighting until the final buzzer, but Milwaukee hold on by the skin of their teeth. Despite leading by as much as 20 in the fourth, they had to battle it out until the final buzzer. LaMelo finished with 50 points, Brandon Miller had 32, the duo combined for 82 in the game, but it still wasn't enough to get it done. LaMelo with 40 points in the second half. It's just absolutely insane. But one thing we're starting to realize is that these guys need help, because this wasn't a one-off, and both LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller did it again against the Orlando Magic. Let's talk about it. How many assists is LaMelo Ball gonna get just like this? Grabbing the rebound, LaMelo brings the ball up, scanning options, and B-Mill on the same page, catches his defender sleeping, goes in behind the defense, ball throws it up to Brandon, and that's just too easy. Then LaMelo again, high pick and roll with Saloon, slips the screen, and Melo gets the switch onto De Silva, and he's too slow for Ball, and Melo gets the friendly bounce on the floater. Same play, same result. This time Diabate slips the screen, KCP fights over it, but it doesn't matter if you switch or not. There is just no stopping Melo getting to his spot with Pope on his hip and dropping it in over the late help defense. Speaking of defense, who said LaMelo can't defend? Watch how he reads the passing lane here and anticipates the entry pass into Wagner. Melo with the steal gets it back from Saloon, crosses by KCP into the paint for yet another floater. After several scoreless possessions, the Hornets have gone a little cold in the second, but when you need a bucket, give it to Ball and get out the way. Hornets clear out, allowing Melo to ISO Franz Wagner, and that's a terrible idea as Melo effortlessly blows by, gets inside and scoops it up high and in. Seriously, tell me a player in the NBA right now with a better float game than LaMelo Ball. In transition, LaMelo uses Gibson's screen to get inside Cole Anthony, and with Wagner backpedaling, Melo settles for another floater, this time from the foul line, and that's basically a layup for him. Now that he's into double figures, here's where things start to get crazy. Melo sizzling handles, relocates and steps back. KCP does everything to get a hand up in the closeout, but LaMelo Ball is unfazed and gets his first free ball to go. When people talk about the best ball handlers in the NBA, LaMelo needs to be in that conversation. Give and go round the screen from Green, and watch how LaMelo at full speed, instead of just running into or around the defender, changes direction by getting low and using his left hand. Despite pressure from Cole Anthony, he's able to keep control of the handle and still has the awareness to know that Curry is open in the corner, and that's also a layup for the league's most efficient three-point shooter. Watch that play back and tell me, at what point does LaMelo look up and see Curry? LaMelo is in his bag now and he's straight up violating. On the wing, forces the switch, stops on the dime, going behind the back and jacking up another difficult three and just cashes it in. Orlando don't even know what they're doing defensively. Look at Black blindly flailing, not knowing where LaMelo is gone. And this right here is just taking the mick. One of the highlight plays of the year so far, and I've got no words. You're gonna have to watch this.
LaMelo has Patazzi on him. What was that? Are you kidding me?
You know what? Let's run that back one time. We need to see that again.
LaMelo has Patazzi on him. What was that?
Maybe I'm getting too far ahead of myself, but I don't see any NBA player doing this. This guy's making the NBA look like the Drew League. Go watch LaMelo's Drew League highlights and tell me it's any different to what we're seeing him do every night in the NBA right now. He's doing it all this game. Get ahead past the start of the break, and we don't see this very often, so enjoy it.
But no longer. LaMelo, his third dunk of the year.
How about another floater? LaMelo on the drive leans into Black and just drops it in for two. It honestly feels like he can get a bucket whenever he wants. LaMelo once again just weaves through traffic, low dribble to split two defenders, and then steps through to get to the cup for an easy lay. How do you stop that? You know, everybody was so hyped about the crazy behind the back hezzy step back one-legged three or whatever it was, that this highlight right here went completely under the radar. Watch Melo one-on-one with Franz just having fun. Multiple between the leg dribbles, then leaves him for dead with the spin, fakes the pass to the corner and nails the floater while off balance. The craziest part about this play is LaMelo lost control of the handle. Cole Anthony also didn't fall for the fake pass. He beat LaMelo to the spot and still couldn't stop him from scoring. They said finishing at the rim was his biggest weakness, not anymore. LaMelo here just steamrolls into the paint, takes the foul and lays it in. Look at the speed, the air time, and how he just glides to the rim to lay it up. One of the things that impresses me is his stop and start quickness. Melo races into the lane by his defender, and watch how he slows down to step past Wagner for yet another easy lay. And you can tell LaMelo takes these matchups personally. Remember when ESPN had Cole Anthony ahead of him as the best guard in the 2020 draft class? LaMelo doesn't forget these things, and Cole Anthony is clearly determined here to not get beat off the dribble and allow Melo to get to the hook. So LaMelo just toys with him, dazzles, goes behind the back, springs out to the perimeter and knocks down another highlight free ball, and Cole Anthony was lucky not to fall and take a seat there. That could have been an ankle breaker. I feel sorry for the Orlando Magic. They've tried putting everyone on LaMelo and they just can't stop him. Setting KCP up for failure here, Melo Ball dancing with the ball on a string, crosses to his left this time, hops into another floater and scores again. And although the game was over, Melo had one more for us. From the inbound, he turns the corner, takes Franz Wagner to the rim and shows that he can finish with his left hand too. Unfortunately though, despite LaMelo's heroics, the Hornets suffered another loss. He had 44 points, more than half of Charlotte's points in this game, and still couldn't win. And last night's game takes this video full circle, because against the Miami Heat, LaMelo actually had an off game. He finished the game with more shot attempts than points scored, and if you looked at the box score and saw 11 of 35 shooting from the field, you'd think he was just shot chucking and stat padding. But that couldn't be further from the case. This is not an NBA roster. Nobody wants to take any responsibility, nobody is capable of creating anything from themselves, so LaMelo Ball takes that many shots out of necessity. Him and Brandon Miller are the only players capable of scoring. And what happened in this game against Miami is exactly why you don't bench your star player down the stretch. Because it doesn't matter how many shots LaMelo Ball missed. He doesn't lose confidence and can still turn it on at any time. That's why when the Hornets were down 20 points in the fourth quarter, they were able to bring it back in this game. Guess why?
Timeout was called going toward the bench.
Oh, yes! LaMelo hits another three!
Fused on their switches, and Hero goes back door.
LaMelo has Robinson in the crosshairs. You knew it was going to happen.
Low to get it through the double team and released it high again, straight in with a left.
LaMelo! Again! Three more for the kid!
LaMelo Ball scored 17 points in the fourth quarter, dragging the Hornets back from the dead. The arena was bouncing, they had all the momentum in the world to go on to win this game, and with around 5 seconds to go, Charlotte had possession. It was all set up for a LaMelo Ball game winner, but no, Charles Lee had other ideas, and this is what he came up with.
Miami doesn't have a foul to waste, we're going to play it. Cody Martin got clubbed, and he'll go to the free throw line.
Instead of giving the ball to his superstar, he drew up an inbound play for Cody Martin, who was 2 of 10 from the field, who obviously bricked the free throws and lost the game. This is the second time in the space of a week where Charles Lee has tried to be smart and cost Charlotte the win. How do you not give the ball to LaMelo in that situation? Why don't you trust the guy who single-handedly willed you back into this game that you had no business winning? LaMelo had earned that shot. In that situation, you give the ball to your star and live with the results. And this is why the head coach is a massive hypocrite, because in Brooklyn, LaMelo was benched because they wanted to ride the hot hand. But what happened to riding the hot hand at the end of this ball game? LaMelo had that look in his eyes, he was gonna find a way to make it happen, but was robbed of the opportunity of having his moment by a coach who's clearly out of his depth at the NBA level. Every Hornets game I watch, Charles Lee looks more and more incompetent, but he's only part of this problem. The serious question is, what is this team going to do to get him some help? People are going to say it's empty stats because they're losing games, but that's not true. LaMelo is making the Hornets competitive. He's keeping them in this game almost single-handedly, out there playing with Brandon Miller and a bunch of G-Leaguers. They need to take this as a serious warning. This is year 5. He's not a rookie anymore. There is only so long that this guy is going to put up with losing because he's ready to win right now. You can see by this photo right here, all he wants is to win. I guess I can wrap this video up by saying that LaMelo Ball is just on another level right now, and the scariest thing is he isn't even in final form. He's gonna keep getting better. If you've made it up to this point in the video and enjoyed, go check out our last video on LaMelo Ball by clicking the big box in the middle of your screen. There we talk about how he's been able to take his game to another level this season. Go watch that, subscribe to the channel, and on that note is DKM signing out until next time, and peace.